Welcome back to Crucible Mixtapes. I'm your host Dev. Today we'll be showcasing a fun build that you can use to pub stomp in quick play, maybe even get away with some competitive wins with it. It's not exactly the most competitively viable build, but it is quite surprising at how effective and ammo efficient this build is. I've been obsessing over this build to the point where I've kind of just been slacking and making videos because I really wanted to capture some good gameplay with it. I'm not entirely satisfied with everything that I've captured, but I've had some shining moments with it that pretty much show what the strengths of this build are. So this build is really simple. You're going to be running Striker Titan mid tree, Code of the Missile, and for the main perk that you're really going to care about here, it's going to be Inertia Override. Inertia Override basically gives you kill clip damage every time you slide over special ammo. This doesn't really work so well in a double primary build. You pretty much got to be using a special weapon to make the most of this perk in PvP. Anytime you see a green box, you slide over it and you have kill clip damage. It's wonderful. There's really no cooldown restriction. You can chain it as long as there's ammo on the floor. It lasts 3.5 seconds. It's not always going to last in terms of you finding another target, but it's available. It's so easily available, and there's really no restrictions other than ammo being on the floor. The rest of the subclass is pretty good. I'm still kind of working around Ballistic Slam. I sometimes go full games where I barely use it just because it puts me in danger, and I find that the Dune Marcher's melee is good. But when you do know how to apply the Ballistic Slam, usually from a flank angle, it can be wonderful because it displaces enemies and you can kill them in the time that they're trying to look for you. And finally, obviously, the super itself is just really good at shutting down other supers. It's pretty much on a Nova Bomb Blade Barrage level of efficiency of turning other supers into free kills. So that's why I run it. I'm not really too big on the mode supers where you're running around in a certain OP mode for a certain amount of times. I like the one and done type of supers. I also like that with heavies like rockets, just to get rid of it, just to have that one efficient use and move on with my gameplay. And the other perk, impact conversion, just basically means you get inertia override when you do your melee ability, and you also get super energy. So you do want to be using the Ballistic Slam. It's pretty bad that I don't use it all the time, but that's because I don't find the applications all the time. Better players will know exactly how to use this melee. Now we'll be using Revoker with Devil's Ruin on top of what I just described. The thing is that Revoker is relevant this season, so deal with it. And I honestly think it's still going to be fun to mess around with Revoker in PvP even after its sunset. It's just like Icebreaker. People were still using it in quick play in Destiny 1, even when it was irrelevant. So yeah, Revoker being an aggressive frame sniper, when you get that kill clip damage, you're able to one-shot body shot people under 6 resilience, which is quite a lot of people in PvP. Usually in comp, people are running 6 resilience at least, but it still helps you put people at absolute, like basically even if they have 6 resilience, 7 resilience, they're gonna have like 10 HP left. They're gonna die to like anything that you do to them when you hit that kill clip Revoker damage on them. So it's awesome once you get it online. Also, because of inertia override, you're able to bypass reload animations. So if you get kills and you start sliding into ammo, you can continue fighting. You don't have to hide. You can just be on the hunt for the next target. Devil's Ruin is my favorite gun now for like the last 2 months. It's just so fun and versatile. It's basically an adaptive frame sidearm that also has the laser beam capability to be like a diet fusion rifle slash trace rifle. I'm pretty sure Bungie recently bug fixed it, which is why it's become a lot more reliable in my eyes. The main tips I can give you for Devil's Ruin is that you're not always going to want to use the laser beam. You have to understand when to use the actual bullets and when to use the laser beam. And also understand that you can use the laser beam as long as you have ammo in the clip. So what you can do with Devil's Ruin is you can kill a guy, and if you have bullets left over, you can kill his friend. You can kill his friend who's coming to clean you up with your laser beam. It doesn't matter, so long as you have one ammo, the gun will let you do the laser beam capabilities. Stats on your character are really what your preference is. I have low mobility just because of what my armor is. I really haven't grinded this season. I've only been playing Crucible and haven't really even played that much, but when I do play, it's almost exclusively this build. This build is just too fun to put down. The only times I put this build down is when I'm playing the truest of true tryhards in comp, and I feel like I need to break out the Waking Vigil or the God Roll Dire Promise. Other than that, though, this build just feels like such a high skill ceiling and a pretty high skill floor too, that when you're successful, when you're pulling off like 6.0 KDAs in quick play with this build, it just feels so clean. It just feels like you are on point. Like, don't get me wrong, it's fun to 3-tap people with hand cannons, it's fun to get kills with your shotgun, but this, like, no one expects this. No one does this. And then once you start being proficient with this, people may even think you're cheating. They may think that you're hacking because no one's good with this. I honestly think the only other build that's extremely viable with these two weapons together is going to be Top Tree Night Stalker, because they can go invisible and they can get the jump on you with the pistol. They can get the jump on you with Revoker. How do you be successful with this build? How do you carry games with this build? First off, you just need to be really on point with your sniper game. Your sniper is going to be your one-hit kill option. Revoker is just such a versatile sniper that there's almost no error in taking Revoker into every PvP match. So this build kind of gives you an excuse to use it. You kind of lean on Revoker to get those special ammo bricks for Inertia Override. You can also lean on Revoker to shut down supers, so you might as well use it for that as well. Revoker and the Devil's Ruin have pretty good synergy. You can body shot with Revoker and finish up with the sidearm bullets to get an easy, quick kill. Pretty similar to Revoker and hand cannon. If you already play that way, you're pretty proficient at doing this already. You're just substituting the hand cannon for the sidearm in this situation. You want to be capable of identifying when it's important to slide over ammo. I mean, it's nice to just get ammo, but if you can save ammo for when you think you're going to get into an engagement, then you can slide over for that kill clip damage and have the advantage in that engagement. It's a difference from just idly taking ammo and not thinking about it and actually pre-planning where you want to fight near ammo bricks. This is not something that you're doing with other subclasses, so it takes some time to even think about it, and once you've done this enough times, you'll start to see green boxes is almost like chess pieces. It's like things that you should be tactically leaving on the map to give you free damage and a reload animation skip. With Devil's Ruin, you're not going to be killing supers with the laser beam. They always live. I've tried time and time again. Your best bet to kill supers is going to be with Revoker. But if you can get the laser beam damage down on super, they'll be near absolute, not exactly, but a team fire will put them down. It's important to understand when to actually rely on the adaptive frame damage and when to rely on the laser beam damage. More often than not, I find that it's better to just treat Devil's Ruin like an actual sidearm and just shoot the weapon. The laser beam seems to be something that you need to learn prediction skills with. Kind of like a fusion rifle. You need to understand when it makes sense to charge the laser beam and actually do it. A lot of times the best time to use the laser beam is when you're not the center of focus. When the enemy is looking at someone else, you have that free time to charge and get that increased or better TTK from the laser beam. It's not a good idea to use the laser beam when an enemy is charging you with a shotgun. Usually they'll just kill you, or you'll trade. The thing is, the laser beam itself is not a one-hit kill. You have to track for like 1.5 seconds, for like 1 second it feels. And the laser beam also does headshot damage, so if you can track to the head, you'll get a faster kill. And ADSing and hipfire seem to do the same damage, but I find that ADSing the laser beam just makes it way easier, way more forgiving with the target acquisition, so you might as well do that when you can. But hipfiring it too, there's really nothing wrong with it. It feels like the target acquisition is just a little bit less when you're hip firing. So it's really just up to those situations. Don't try and do super long range laser beams. It's going to wind up doing like 15s and 16s. It's not going to finish off the enemy. It just looks stupid trying to shoot a laser beam down a long hallway. Where this build thrives is just the in-fight availability, the in-fight kill clip damage, and the ability to shut down supers with your own super. And also, I think an unsung grenade is a lightning grenade. I've been using that with this build, and it just helps so much with area denial, and it helps make you more an elusive target. I find if you place it while you're running away, people usually walk into it pretty quickly. You have to like learn to use a lightning grenade and throw it in a way where an enemy wouldn't suspect it, like when they're not looking, because if they see you throw a lightning grenade, it's a one-tap kill. It'll die and it'll do no damage. But the ticks themselves do about 150 damage, which is substantial. It makes everything in your kit basically a one-shot after that point, so you might as well use it. And then the Dune Marchers in combination with your Ballistic Slam will give you increased AoE, increased speed. The reason I run low agility is just because I use Dune Marchers. If my build allowed me to, I'd run more mobility, but Dune Marchers definitely makes up for it. So what was the inspiration for this build? Well, I actually lost to Drewski using this build on me on Top Tree Night Stalker in Trials of Osiris like 2 months ago. I'll never forget that loss. I think I have it recorded somewhere in my hard drive, and he just destroyed my team. Who go invisible, show up with Devil's Ruin, or show up with a headshot with Revoker, and then kill the rest of us with his kit. He did it so fluidly that I knew that it was a strong build, but I wanted to do it with Titan because I saw the potential with Inertia Override. And that's pretty much been the inspiration. I think the main weakness of this build is when you're playing high-skilled enemies, they'll outvalue your Devil's Ruin with a hand cannon, or with an auto rifle, or with a pulse rifle. And that's kind of the biggest weakness. If you're not on fire with those headshots, if you're not on fire with your positioning, the more meta weapons will kind of stuff your primary weapon option. It's quite hard to go up against a high-impact scout rifle, a high-impact pulse rifle with Devil's Ruin. You'll basically be relying on Revoker, and if you get flinched out of your shots, then you're not doing any damage. So you really need to be on fire when you're doing this build. You need to be feeling yourself and understanding the capabilities of the build and the weaknesses, and learning how to close the gap without getting endangered in meta weapons. But when it works so well. It tilts people. It's surprising. It'll surprise you how much damage you can do. Like, you would think like a sidearm is weak, but it's not. It's so powerful with Revoker. I almost think just like Anonymous Autumn with Revoker is probably powerful too. But Devil's Ruin just goes further. Oh, also, Devil's Ruin pretty much has built-in Icarus, unlike other exotics. It just seems accurate as hell from the air, so yeah, get that aerial game in. I do aerial snipes, do aerial sidearm bullets too. They'll land, they'll register. It's not like the Last Word or like Thorn, who they just become incredibly inaccurate in the air. So I hope this build has been entertaining to you guys. I hope to see more Devil's Ruin and PvP soon because of this. And if you do, you can thank me.